Imagine Lamu's ancient coastline, where dhows once sailed, now giving way to the roar of cranes and container ships. This is the site of Kenya's most ambitious economic gamble, the Lamu Port. More than concrete and steel, Lamu Port is the anchor of a multi-billion-dollar corridor meant to connect Kenya to Ethiopia and South Sudan. The dream is to transform northern Kenya, long neglected, into a new economic artery for East Africa. Kenya hopes to become the region's logistics and trade hub, but the risks are enormous. For Nairobi, Lamu Port is a leap into the future, a legacy project promising prosperity. But for local communities, it's an existential threat. Fishermen see their livelihoods vanish, and Swahili culture faces erosion. The stakes are high. Will Lamu Port drive prosperity or become a costly white elephant on the Indian Ocean? The clash between ambition and reality is unfolding on these shores. The world is watching to see if this bold vision can deliver. The answer will shape Kenya's future for generations. Lamu Port is just the beginning of the LAPSSET Corridor, one of Africa's most ambitious infrastructure projects. The plan, a network of highways, railways, and pipelines stretching over 1,700 kilometers, linking Kenya to Ethiopia and South Sudan. For decades, Kenya relied on the congested Mombasa corridor. LAPSSET aims to break that bottleneck and spread development north. Lamu's deep, sheltered harbor was chosen for its strategic potential to handle ultra-large vessels. The 2012 groundbreaking was filled with optimism, but reality has been slower. Funding gaps, political hurdles, and environmental concerns persist. The question remains, can this grand vision overcome its obstacles, or is it simply too big and complex to fully realize? LAPSSET's fate will determine if Kenya can truly remake the economic map of East Africa. The stakes are continental. Lamu Port's success is entangled in fierce regional competition. Tanzania is upgrading Dar es Salaam and planning Bagamoyo, aiming to outpace Kenya. Djibouti already dominates Ethiopian trade, handling over 95% of its cargo. For Lamu to thrive, Kenya must convince Ethiopia and South Sudan to shift their trade south. That means not just a port, but completed road and rail links, an enormous challenge. Ethiopia is the key prize, but shifting its trade patterns is no small feat. South Sudan's oil pipeline to Lamu remains stalled by conflict. Without guaranteed cargo from these neighbors, Lamu risks becoming an underused white elephant. The corridor's success hinges on winning this regional chess match. The next moves will decide Lamu's fate. LAPSSET's scale demands massive capital, much of it borrowed. Kenya has funded initial port construction through public debt, betting future revenues will repay the loans. But private investment for roads, railways, and pipelines has been slow. Investors are wary of regional instability and uncertain trade volumes. Without connecting infrastructure, the port can't attract enough cargo. Without cargo, investors stay away. This catch-22 leaves Kenya exposed, a gleaming port, but no guarantee of payoff. If revenues fall short, Kenya could face mounting debt and risk losing control over strategic assets. Lamu Port is a high-stakes gamble with the nation's finances on the line. Beyond economics, Lamu Port is exacting a heavy environmental and cultural toll. Dredging has destroyed mangroves and coral reefs, threatening the livelihoods of local fishing communities. Compensation has been slow, and many fear the benefits will bypass locals. Lamu Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, faces cultural erosion as industrialization encroaches. The influx of workers and rapid change threaten the area's unique Swahili identity. Community leaders demand sustainable, inclusive development, but feel sidelined. The central question, can progress happen without sacrificing Lamu's soul? The answer will define what kind of future this project brings. Lamu Port is now a reality, with 3 deep-water berths operational since 2021. The hardware is impressive, but the software, roads, railways, and trade agreements, lags behind. Key road links remain incomplete, and the railway is still a distant dream. As a result, cargo volumes are a trickle compared to Mombasa or Djibouti. Most business so far is transshipment and local exports, far from the original vision. The port operates well below capacity, waiting for the rest of the corridor to materialize. Kenya is racing to finish the infrastructure and attract shipping lines with incentives. The port's long-term viability depends on connecting it to regional markets. For now, Lamu is a powerful but underutilized asset. Its future hangs in the balance. Lamu Port's future could take 3 paths. In one, the corridor is completed. Ethiopia and South Sudan shift trade, and Lamu becomes a thriving regional hub. Kenya's gamble pays off. In another, infrastructure stalls, rivals outcompete Kenya, and Lamu becomes a costly white elephant, draining public finances. The most likely scenario is somewhere in between, partial success. The port attracts some niche business, supports local growth, but never fulfills its grandest ambitions. It covers operating costs, but struggles with debt, a reminder of a vision only partly realized. Lamu survives, but doesn't thrive. The project becomes a symbol of both hope and frustration. Kenya remains in limbo, waiting for a breakthrough that may never come. The outcome will shape perceptions of African megaprojects for years. Lamu's story is still being written. Lamu Port is more than an infrastructure project. It's a test of Kenya's ambition and Africa's development model. Investors, shipping lines, and governments are watching closely. Lamu's fate will influence decisions across the continent. The project embodies the tension between economic growth and preserving environment and culture. How Kenya balances these forces will offer lessons for other nations. If Lamu succeeds, it proves bold vision can reshape a country's destiny. If it fails, it warns of the dangers of overreach and debt. Either way, Lamu is a crossroads for Kenya and a signal to the world. The gamble is underway. The world is watching to see if it pays off.